Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome back to the Planet FPL weekend ahead of game week 27. My Friday partner in crime, David Hunter, is with me. How are you, mate?
Very well, thanks, mate. Happy Friday. How are you?
Happy Friday. Yeah, it's nearly the weekend. Yeah, not too
Yeah.
bad at all. Although it feels like a long week because the deadline's a little bit later tomorrow. We'll be having a look towards the end of this at some free hit, maybe some wildcard drafts ahead of game week 27. Lots to catch up on from European football. Great result for Forest, Newcastle, less so a little bit for Crystal Palace. Obviously, this major incident in Lisbon involving Vinicius Jr. that we'll cover off as well. But we will wrap up the Premier League week. Arsenal drew at Wolves, and I'm still a bit gobsmacked about it, David.
Arsenal are as well. Yeah, half time you just never would have saw that coming, would you? It was possibly the most one-sided game of football you're likely to see. I
I
think
wasn't
it
even
was.
really watching it. I was like, this is on because it's got to be.
Yeah, it's a very harsh lesson learned for Arsenal there because yeah, it was so complacent in the second half, wasn't it? Probably in the first half as well. I think I heard you mention yesterday and asked James like they should have just got to put teams like that to bed when you're so far in the ascendancy, like they were. Kind of illustrated by that first goal from Saka. It's just so easy, isn't it? It's a nice ball in from Rice, but nobody near Saka.
Yeah, at that point, I was half
Yeah,
tempted to just turn the game off. I was like, what can I possibly miss here? They've won.
yeah. There was, I mean, to say Wolves didn't have many chances in the first half, they barely had a shot and they could barely get out of their own half from what I was. So I was a little bit like you. I was kind of zoning out of it a little bit because it just wasn't really a contest. Having just watched Newcastle against Qarabag as well, it was like not a particularly competitive night of football on Wednesday. But you have to sort of give Wolves their due in the second half. I would imagine they had a bit of a rocket at half time, and obviously Arsenal were coasting, and it's bit them on the arse at the end. And I would imagine a lot of heads have gone in the Arsenal fan base. I've not checked Arsenal Twitter, but
Oh,
it's
I
got,
have.
yeah, I bet you have, yeah,
Although I'm keeping my counsel very close to
yeah.
myself ahead of Sunday's derby.
Probably not the time to give it the big one, is it? Given
No,
you're
I'm
about
not
to
going
play
to,
them,
mate.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, how Arsenal have not won that game, it's mad, isn't it? As a non triple captaining Gabriel owner, when Wolves scored what I thought was a consolation, I was pleased from an FPL point of view because he got that assist, hadn't he, for the second goal? I was like, this could be an absolute hammering in FPL terms, but ended up not being too bad. Yeah, it's a shocker for Arsenal. There's no getting away from it. They dropped points last week, which I think we said, didn't we? You can drop points at
Drawing
Brentford.
at Brentford, we kind of, it's all
Certainly no,
right. It's
it's
not
all right.
ideal, but it's all right. But then to have this straight afterwards,
This one's on them. Yeah, they've really come a cropper there, and only time will tell whether it's going to be painful and sort of costly for them. Still, I mean, the bookies still have them heavy favourites to win the league, so let's not overreact. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you're still in a great position. But yeah, shocking shocking result for them in the end, given how much superior they were in the first half.
yeah, the reality is that the title should be put to bed. It's now people can come up with statistics like 2 wins in 7, which will potentially play on your mind. I'd like to remind people though that Manchester City have won 3 and 8. So it's not like City have been knocking down the door particularly. Yes, sure. I guess people would look at, oh, they won at Anfield. That's the start of the run. They played very well against Fulham. But City have now got to follow that up. City won 6 in a row back in kind of late November, early December. Arsenal, like last season, I don't think Arsenal won more than 4 in a row last season. They won 5 in a row twice. Watching Sky Sports News after the game Wednesday night. And why, if Man City win their last 12 games, they will be champions. Right? Man City aren't doing that. And I think it's probably fair to say now, neither are Arsenal. But it might just, the fact that it's got a bit closer, it might just focus minds for both of them. It will definitely focus minds for Manchester City to now feel like there's a chance. Think of like the Bernardo Silva interview after they won at Liverpool, and afterwards going, we kind of knew if we didn't win, it was over basically, and now it's in their hands effectively. But it won't be. They're both going to drop points on this running. It's obviously concerning for Arsenal in terms of the recent away results. Obviously, if they don't win the derby, on Sunday, you're then going, it's 3 away games in about 10 days, and you haven't won any of them. So, similarly, you could go back now and look at them and say it's 3 wins in their last 9 away Premier League games. It's not great.
No, it's not. No.
And many of you would have, I mentioned a stat yesterday on Ask James that they've got the lowest points total after 27 games. This is Arsenal of any league leader since Leicester in the infamous Leicester City season. How do you feel about it now? Do you feel like they've left the door open for City?
I do, to be fair, yeah. I think because those two signings City have made seem to have made an immediate impact, don't they? I think they definitely look more solid at the back with Gay, and Diaz is back. Diaz is back now as well, isn't he? So that's a very, with Donnarumma behind them, that is a sort of central defensive unit that can win a title, no doubt about that. Semenyo's hit the ground running and sort of covered what's been by his standards, a little dry spell from Haaland. There's kind of less pressure on him now. Yeah, City look much more at it than they were. I agree with you, though. I don't see this City team doesn't compare with previous iterations of title-winning City teams. So I've got no doubt that they will, like Arsenal, drop the odd point. But yeah, I think, like you've just said, it almost would have been title put to bed. I think had Arsenal got over the line there, the gap would have been massive. But given they've still got to go to the Etihad, yeah, there's no reason to think City aren't well in the title race again now. Yeah, it's the door is open.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, my confidence, people know I've been saying all season long, Arsenal will win this comfortably. And I still think Arsenal will win this. My belief in that has been twofold. One, obviously, the strength of Arsenal, the strength in depth. They've had injuries this year, and I don't think we focused on it too much because they're able to cover those things off. But also just not believing that there would be a real challenge
Yeah.
on the table. Like, again, you're looking at Arsenal's result at Wolves Wednesday night. It's very similar to what happened to Man City at Tottenham a couple of weeks ago. It's like inexplicable that they've not won the game. City, even more so than Arsenal, should have been well outside against Tottenham. But the two first halves of the two games were comparable. A goal happens, momentum changes. In Tottenham's case, it changed quite quickly. And actually, Tottenham did play quite well in the second half in that game. With this one, it just never felt like it was coming at all.
Yeah.
And when it dropped to Tomidozi making his debut, what a great little story. Hit it, lad. Get in. I couldn't believe for the second week running I was cheering an equalising goal against them. And yes, sod my triple captaincy. I was like, yeah, that's another 4 points down the drain. Thank you very much.
I'll freely admit I'd never heard of Tomidozi before that game. I wasn't a
No,
player I was
well,
aware
I
of.
mean, I'd messaged you before the game. Was like, fuck's Joe Gomez. Why is he not playing? Like, because I know them in midfield. Actually, he's decent. I quite like Andre as well. Angel Gomez did okay.
Got
Little
injured.
lad.
Yeah.
Moves it over tidy enough, but they never looked a threat, did they? So how have Arsenal conceded twice to that?
I think that might be a big part of it. They thought maybe there was a recognition amongst Arsenal that they weren't playing particularly well, but they were still winning, and they maybe just thought, we'll scrape through with the 2-1 here. The shock when the goal actually goes in, it's like, oh my god! Because I did check before we started recording when the goal went in, it was 90+4. So it's late enough, isn't it? I know there was quite a lot of injury time still to play. It was just panic stations after that. Yeah, it's interesting one now, obviously, with the North London derby on Sunday. You could look at it either way, really. You might think, Spurs' new manager, you're feeling much better. Admittedly, the bar was very low, but you're feeling better than you were about Tottenham. You could think that, God, yeah, that's a really tricky game now for Arsenal. But the other way of looking at it is if they go to Spurs, win comfortably, which, they are a superior team to Tottenham, obviously, win comfortably on Sunday and things are looking rosy again for them now. So it might actually be a really good game for them.
Yeah, you'll know that on Monday. That's the reality. Obviously, if they go to win Tottenham and win, whatever state Tottenham are in, obviously that puts the fan base in a very positive mood again. You're like, right, okay, the advantage is still yours, etc. If it goes wrong,
yeah, it's a panic stations, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. What I will say is, I'm really looking forward to that game on Sunday. Now I've got no particular skin in the game, but with a new manager who's going to play completely different at Spurs, and with this sort of narrative about Arsenal stuttering, it's going to be a great watch on Sunday, I think. Though.
How you feeling about the Arsenal FPL assets now?
Looking at it, yeah, I'm Gabriel will go nowhere. I don't think anyone's going to sell him. I don't think, but we are getting to the point now. I'm not doing anything at all. I'm going to roll again at the weekend, but there are a couple of timbers starting to frustrate people. I think, isn't he? In terms of
It's fascinating. 4 clean sheets in the
yeah,
last seven.
yeah,
It's fascinating.
that's true. Yeah, and his attacking data, as we've said before, is pretty good. But he is potentially disposable, given the blank in 31. Rice has hauled in the end, hasn't he? With anyone in triple captain, Rice has, I think he's got 14
I actually thought
points over
amongst
the
this
two.
mess for Arsenal, I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, he had a good
It
game.
felt like every time the ball landed somewhere in midfield, he was there. Every time.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Arsenal are blanking, and he's not someone you're in a rush to sell, I don't think. But I understand it. You know, if there's players like Cole Palmer this weekend, I wouldn't be going there personally. Florian Wirtz is doing well. You could downgrade him to do. We spoke about Dango and Rayan and players like that. You can look at selling it on, but
I just wouldn't rush it.
I wouldn't rush it. I'm in agreement with that. Yeah, Saka's back, isn't he? So well,
He is
took a
18
knock.
def cons for him as well, which it felt to me primarily was because Wolves just kept giving him the ball in the first half. He's obviously played this central role again, as he had done against Wigan at the weekend. It's not come as a huge shock to myself. This is something, and we might be something we don't see again. But I recalled a game which was the last time Tottenham beat Arsenal. Towards the end of the season, we finished above them and beat them 3-0. When Arsenal went down to 10 men because Rob Holding got sent off and they went 4-4-1 basically, and Saka went into midfield. He went and played the right sided eight position and we're very short of what they could do. And I look that night, like, even though we were obviously Wimbledon, right? We had a man advantage and stuff. You're looking at it and think, you don't look out of place in that position, even though they're a man short and stuff. I wonder if in the longer term, it's a role that he could fulfill. What I think it speaks is the kind of narrative and the following of why is that happening. So, no Odegaard, he might be back for Sunday. No Havertz, he might be back for Sunday as a possibility. Arteta's going to tell you diddly squat today. You already know that. We'll see if they can train tomorrow. That's what it's going to be. So they're short in that area of the 10 position with those two particular players unavailable. And I know with certainty Arteta would ideally want those two players to play in the North London derby. Havertz, I would say, is probably an unlikely. Odegaard picked up the problem actually in Brentford's equaliser, didn't he? He nearly kicked off. He basically kicked King Lewis Potter, didn't he? As Lewis Potter scored the goal, and he was limping for a while after that. So it depends on the recovery. But obviously, Ebeeze can play the position,
I was just about to say this. Yeah,
and Arteta's at this moment has clearly, I think, decided that he
not
doesn't
having
trust
him.
him.
Yeah, he's not having him. I
Yeah,
don't think. Yeah, yeah. I took the words out of my mouth really because you think if Odegaard's not available, Eze was bought to play this exact role that Saka's ended up sort of. I was going to say filling in, but he's more than capable of playing it. He's obviously decided he'd rather have Madueke on the right and push Saka inside and trust Eze as the 10 at the moment. Yeah, it feels like the game against yourselves in November, I think it was. That's as good as it's got with not much else
well, there's a
from
narrative you could
Arsenal at the
say,
moment.
well, that's Eze's one outstanding football match for Arsenal. Do you hope that he goes in there with the same confidence again and stuff? But I think,
Mm.
again, going back to Arteta not knowing exactly what Tottenham are going to do at the weekend, he's not going to want to off the ball parts that he doesn't believe in. I'd be amazed if Eze started actually
Yeah,
on Sunday. And this goes back to actually what we discussed on this podcast this time last week about saying their press in that first half at Brentford was as bad as I'd seen it. It was really bad. And there's more trust in Saka in that position in terms of off the ball stuff and that. So
yeah.
okay,
Wolves. Anything to
I'll
say?
be keeping the Arsenal assets at the moment just for clarity. Yeah, I could do things like Rice, the players you mentioned, or Timber to Van Dijk, for example. I see no reason to rush that
I'm not
at
doing
this
it this
moment.
weekend. Yeah, yeah. Same.
Reality is, if Arsenal turn up properly on Sunday, unless something happens in the game where the crowd really get on side, maybe we start with some really good early momentum. Listen, across that whole pitch, Arsenal are better than us. And if they play properly like they can, and I'm sure their mentality will be spot on, they should win the game at the weekend.
They should.
They're no less likely to do it than, say, Liverpool at Nottingham Forest, or investing in some of these other midfielders that we've said and stuff. Versus, I mean, Rice is another away game. His record in away games is outstanding, actually. So no, I won't be moving on the Arsenal assets this week, and I don't really want to. I just might be forced to on the path to 31.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably end up with 5 free transfers this time next week. Going, I've got a great team. What do I do?
Got to do
And
something.
at that point, looking at Timber versus Chelsea and Van Dijk versus West Ham, I might make that sort of move, maybe. Or once I've seen Rayan play, as we've discussed a few times, I can watch Rayan on Saturday and go, okay, yeah, I really think he's it or not. For Wolves, like, brilliant result. Yeah, they've only lost 3 in 9.
Yeah, they have been much better, haven't they? It's a great goal from Bueno. Didn't think he had that in him.
Assisted by Bueno.
Yeah. Good stuff.
No Bueno.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did not see that coming at our time. Wolves were just so outclassed, weren't they? But yeah, Edwards obviously got into them at half time. It's people who went with Mane and played him. He clearly is one of their better players, isn't he? He's up for the battle and he's got some ability.
He's talent, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they're clearly going down. There's no question about that.
They are, yeah.
But,
someone asked me on stream yesterday if they could get out of it, and I was like, they've got 11 games to go. They're on 10 points.
Yeah.
Right. If they won like all 11, that takes them to 43. We're even having discussions where someone like West Ham might even be able to hit that sort of total. Like, it's not happening. No, they're gone. And I think they're really preparing themselves for next season. Slightly odd comment from Ro Edwards after the game, saying that he wanted a bit more backing during the game from the support. Listen, what are the Wolves fans meant to get behind?
Yeah. I actually thought the Wolves fans in the first half, because it was pissing down with rain, they were barely getting out of their own half. I was thinking, you've got to be really
It's miserable, isn't it?
You've got to really love your club to be there on a night like that. But I do think with Wolves now, they are at a level now where you have got to have your eyes on the prize to beat them at least. Where you look at, say, Palace tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? I think it's
Sunday.
Sunday, isn't it? Yeah. They're not in a great moment at the moment. I don't think Palace, and heard some songs about Glasner last night. Both of us are sat here at the moment thinking, yeah, Palace should beat Wolves, probably will beat Wolves, but that's a narrative where if you don't play well and don't beat them, then it's an absolutely disastrous result, isn't it? And yeah, they are no longer a gimme. I don't think, no, Wolves. I think it's fair to say
FPL have changed Burnley at home to the FDR rating of 1.
Okay,
but not changed Wolves. Is very interesting. They did similar last year with like Southampton, Leicester was like, we're changing both.
It's a bit harsh on Burnley. That I don't think they're quite at that level yet. I don't think.
Well, as Burnley won their last away game as well, quite interestingly, away to Crystal Palace. They also drew away to Liverpool a couple of away games before that as well. So
Strand Larsen against Wolves on Sunday, isn't it?
Oh, Britain own goal probably. Yeah, look, they're doing all right. I don't think you can look at them as a massive given at the moment. Just one thing on, I mean, look, the equalising goal is kind of joint mess between Raya and Gabriel. I think what happens is the cross comes in, and ordinarily it would probably be on Raya to shout and Gabriel clears out the way. But because of the stage of the game and the 1-goal advantage, there's a bit of panic. And I think what happens is that probably Gabriel and Raya both commit to it at exactly the same time. If Raya's coming forward and Gabriel's going back and they both commit to it and they both call at the same time, which there's no way of us ever knowing, you're not stopping.
No.
Not at that stage of a game. And these two obviously very experienced players have obviously led to a cock up. And then it's the way it's gone over the line was magnificent stuff, I must say. Is it in? Isn't it in? Yeah, it's in. Thank you very much. On Hugo Bueno's goal, did you think there was any question marks on Raya on that at all?
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I think you're entitled to ask questions about that. It's not a million miles away from him, is it? You would expect him to have maybe make a better fist of it than he actually did. It's not right in the top bins, is it? It's yeah.
No, the only reason I mention it and that he's an outstanding goalkeeper is in his last season at Brentford before he went to Arsenal, we discussed a lot about concerns of him and saving shots from long distance, basically. There were a number. I recall a goal they conceded late against Fulham in a game. It was like 30 yards out and he's parrying it straight in front of him. Hugo Bueno, Dorgu, Cunha, Krupi Jr.
Right.
There's a number of goals there now over the last 6 weeks or so that have been scored against Arsenal from distance. I'm definitely not suggesting he should have saved Patrick Dorgu's, by the way. I'm just saying that basically half the goals Arsenal have conceded over the last couple of months have been from distance.
Szoboszlai at Anfield. He's not saving that one, in fairness.
Should have caught it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, even within that and within these period of games, think of the save from Minter. Is that long distance or not? That, I mean, he's got a clear sight of it, but that shows how good of a goalkeeper it is. He's just a little bit of a trend that might be coming back around, and Arsenal want to be cautious maybe of letting people shoot from long range.
Pepper him, yeah. Who's your best long range shooters on Sunday? Xavi Simons, is it?
Kudos, Madison, Kulusevski.
Yeah, not Papsar.
But to be honest, it probably is Papsar actually.
Yeah,
I don't even know if he'll start. Okay, unsavoury scenes, unfortunately, in the Champions League on Tuesday night in Lisbon with Vinicus Jr. and your Argentina lad who I've forgotten his name already. Palestri, what's his name, David?
Prestiani.
Yeah. Okay, I think there's no way of us factually knowing what was or what wasn't said, but the whole putting the shirt over your mouth, I think, gives a very, very clear indication. I think some of the reaction in the immediate is pretty bad from people working in the media and on commentary, and it's okay, essentially. I sum it up like this. It's okay, essentially, to think that Vinicius Jr. is a bit of a dick. It doesn't give anyone the right to be racist to him. There's a level of difference, mate. There's people who have been stood in front of me and celebrated, would never think to say anything like that. You might tell the guy to F off, but it doesn't go down that sort of route. And obviously it's happened a lot of times with him now. And I do think there is an element of people wanting to do it to him because they know that it's happened to him in the past. Almost maybe even not meaning the words that are said, but hoping that they're going to get a real reaction out of him. I think in the aftermath of immediately what's happened, the fact that he removed himself from the situation and sat down on the bench was probably the right thing to do and get away from people and compose himself. I certainly, from my own perspective, it's definitely not for me to say what he should or shouldn't done, but I'd have been perfectly happy if he just walked down the tunnel personally. And that is probably the next step, isn't it?
I think there was some talk that Real Madrid players were thinking about doing that. I think Vinicius handled it all absolutely brilliantly from start to finish, to be honest. He didn't do anything wrong. He scores contender for goal of the season, I think, given where the angle's from. Perfectly entitled to celebrate that in the corner. He's not inside any fans. So God only knows why he got booked. Referee handled it pretty well, I think. He's obviously made aware of the accusation, and first time I've seen it,
the referee was outstanding, actually. Other
First
than the bit on the corner flag
Yeah.
right at the end of the game. Other than that, I thought he dealt with things as calmly as he possibly. It must have been so horrible for him
yeah,
to get because he can't just send the fella off based on he said it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
referee. I get that.
First time I've seen that sort of gesture used to sort of acknowledge that there's a racial accusation been made. So that's the first time I've seen those protocols activated. Like you say, there's no actual evidence because he puts his shirt over his mouth, but whatever he said is sufficiently bad that he feels like he can't let anybody lip read it or be
at the
spoken about.
At the moment that Vinicius Jr. like runs away and he's almost like that's enough.
Yeah,
He's not. Vinicius isn't even looking at him.
no,
He's faced away from him, and he's obviously he's heard it. He's like, no, that's enough now.
yeah.
Um,
There's some people far better to listen to about this than you or I, but Seedorf was very good on it. Theo Walcott spoke well. Rooney was good actually on Amazon Prime, I thought. And then on the CBS show, Henri and Micah Richards were brilliant as well. it's something that for them they will sort of have encountered, and they just seem so fed up that it's just not getting any better
Have you
from
seen
what they
Liam
do.
Rosenior's interview yesterday?
No, I've not seen that. No.
It's good, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did his presser for Chelsea yesterday, and he was asked about it, and he said like, "I don't want to go into individual circumstances and stuff," but then kind of did anyway, without mentioning names and stuff. Other than he mentioned, obviously, it's clear what's happened to Vinicius Jr., but he didn't mention the Benfica player and stuff. And he spoke so passionately, and watching him, I'm thinking, "You're going to break down crying here," and it would have been like understandable if he did. He was like, "You have to understand, I've had racist abuse. Nothing worse can possibly happen to me, basically." And you hear that and it hits you and you think, okay. So also afterwards you get, I actually thought when it was going on the pitch, I thought Mourinho's actually getting older people here and he's probably doing the right thing. That's how it felt, like getting hold of almost as like a public figure of the opponent, try and calm people down under the circumstance. Then what he said after the game in
He's
reference to
Eusebio.
dragging a
Yeah.
legend like Eusebio into this and stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know if you've seen it, David, but I've seen videos from within the crowd there of people making gestures, let's say.
Right. No, I've not seen that.
That's obviously not representative of all Benfica, etc. Benfica's own admin put out a slightly ridiculous
I
tweet,
have seen that. Yeah.
which I quote tweeted what Nico said about it as someone who's black and Portuguese. And it was basically like, this is the dumbest tweet any football club has ever put out. Basically, they were trying to defend the fact that pretty much whatever Palistri, I keep forgetting his name, David. I'd rather forget it. Prestiani. That whatever he'd said, the Real Madrid players must be making it up, that they couldn't have, from the distance, they couldn't have heard what he said and stuff. It's tone deaf. All of it is tone deaf. I think Mourinho has probably gone down the line of probably trying to deflect stuff, which is what he's done his whole career, is deflect kind of blame off his players and put some kind of light onto himself. But it's ignorant
The
beyond belief.
the
It's
irony
also
is
from Mourinho, who's talking about celebrations. I mean, it's unbelievable double standards
yeah,
from Mourinho, who no manager's probably ever incited a crowd more than him, but whatever.
yeah. That's literally what I was about to say. Yeah, the irony's off the scale there, isn't it? Yeah. See what happens next week. I mean,
Well, yeah, at least they're not playing each other again for a
yeah.
while. My goodness. I mean, he can't he can't play, can he?
I would think it would be wise from Mourinho's point of view to, even if he is able to play, to take him out the firing line. But who knows? Who knows what will happen? I don't know whether UEFA can have a ruling on this or look into the case
Liam
before the
Rosenior
game.
said yesterday, his opinion was that if anyone was found guilty of racism on a football pitch, they should be banned for life.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a problem with that.
No.
I don't have a problem with that. The only thing I would say is he's 20 years of age. And I think at that sort of age, people can say things that don't understand the consequence of what they're saying. And I've spoken about this a lot, about educating people properly. Maybe he's not got, I'm not excusing him in any way, but maybe he's not educated properly enough to know what the damage of his words are. Would be really helpful for people. I, as kind of said before, would have no problem if Vinicius Jr. and Real Madrid at that point just walked off the pitch. I would actually have no problem if Benfica said, well, he's not suspended, we're bringing him, if they said, we're not playing a football match then. And dare UEFA to throw them out, because it wouldn't. Unfortunately, we probably know what this is, don't we? Oh, it's 100 grand fine for Benfica and we couldn't prove what happened.
Yeah,
It's not going to wash for anyone, is it?
it'll be an inconsequential fine, won't it? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
In a way, there's obviously no good in this, but this feels like the most high profile occasion where it's happened, I think. And in the long run, there might be some good for that. And to put eyes on it, to understand, well, what happens next? What, like I said, I think the referee dealt with the protocol stuff really, really well on the
He
night.
did. Yeah.
What should the protocol be for a team? I think the team needs to know under that circumstance, is it okay to walk off the pitch without fear of, oh, we're going to award a 3-0 win to the opposition? what kind of protocol is that? I don't know the answer because
No.
that has to be a little bit of a fear there from Madrid because I'm sure they'll want to back their mate up. If Vinicius wanted to carry on playing, we'll play with him. If you don't want to play, go off with him.
Yeah. No, nothing to add. It's the whole incident's just very, very sad. But just repeat what I said before. I thought Vinicius handled it all perfectly, to be honest. And yeah, it's a shame we're not talking about what an amazing goal he scored rather than all of this
It
stuff.
was
It's
some goal as well.
yeah, it was an amazing goal. Yeah,
He's got it in his locker.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the result, I mean, Madrid will go through. It feels a little bit irrelevant. It was to think you're right in terms of I think he's handled himself well. Wouldn't blame him if he didn't.
No,
It's
no,
not. I can't understand how it feels for him. I can only try to understand in some sort of way, but I do think it's important that we keep these conversations like open. I think like I can sit here and say I don't understand, and I don't. I understand the hurt, but I don't personally understand the hurt. But I also think it's still important that we talk about it.
definitely. Yeah, and I say this as a Liverpool supporter, and you know, the Suarez and Evra thing a few years ago was every bit as high profile as this, maybe a little bit more. And I found at no point did I sort of come down on the tribal side and defend Suarez for what was said there. When stuff like this happens, it needs and when found guilty, needs punishing in very, very strong terms. So yeah, that protocol that we saw the other night, as I said, the first time I've seen it, it's hopefully will act as a deterrent for something like that happening again, hopefully in the future. Because yeah, it was taken seriously enough with the seriousness it deserved by the officials. So that is the silver lining in the whole situation, I suppose.
There's no right way here to move the conversation on to the next topic.
Yeah, it's hard to segue from that, isn't
Correct.
it?
So I'm
Yeah,
just going to do it. I didn't watch Newcastle on Wednesday afternoon. I
yeah.
know you did. And during most of that first half, me and you were messaging each other quite a bit. Do you want to tell the story or shall I?
Well, we play UCL Fantasy, don't we? And
We did. I've quit.
doing the pods on my own now, am I? Moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah, to sort of sum it up, basically you pick a team for the first night and then you keep your Wednesday players and bring them in if necessary for the second night
You
action.
can.
Obviously, there's
It's
two.
same layout as FPL, but you can bring your subs on
Yeah,
essentially for your worst performing players, like on day two.
yeah, and we'd done the pod on Tuesday, and we said if your captain doesn't hit on Tuesday, which was Mbappe, I think for both of us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You move it on, or you move one of your non-scoring players out. And obviously Newcastle was the money game on Wednesday, and we'd said Anthony Gordon was the most likely captain on Wednesday. So yeah, I think he was actually. Oh, I did have Nick Pope to be fair, but kept him on the bench because Courtois got the clean sheet for me on Tuesday. So yeah, it was a case of move Gordon in on Wednesday and captain him, which is obviously your plan too. And yeah, I was just watching the game, sort of minding my own business really, and then kind of checked my phone and realised that it had all gone oh so wrong for you on Wednesday. Transfers hadn't worked.
So, yeah, I'm not blaming anyone, by the way. I can only think, I know, because I sat here, as soon as the Newcastle team came out, sort of, I had Gordon, Chow, and Grimaldo on the bench, right? Who, Gordon captaincy alone is 54.
Yeah,
Malik Chow scored for 9. So that's what we keep in score here, David, 63.
yeah,
Grimaldo, 11 pointer,
74,
74. Minus, I would have taken 10 points out of the team.
64.
So I would have taken out Vitinha, Yildiz, and Nuno Mendes for 5, and I would have moved Mbappe's 5 point captaincy, obviously, to Gordon. It cost me 64 points. I scored 71. I would have finished on 135. I've dropped from, I think it was 5k overall. I think actually on after night one, I've gone up to 3k. Now down to about 17k. And obviously, I would have flown up into a really good position, obviously, after the game as well. Absolute shambles. So
Now you're behind losers like me.
last year's minus 51. I mean, it's almost impossible, it feels like, to make. I know that I made the transfers in the sense, I obviously just haven't pressed save. I made the transfers as soon as the Newcastle team came out because I just wanted to check that Ballard Chow was playing because I thought it was a small chance. As I've been saying the last couple of weeks, this lad is due a rest. He's going to get it in the second leg, by the way, because he's suspended. So just waited for that. Okay, make the transfers, change the captaincy. I 100% know that I did that, put it on Gordon. I can only think that I just didn't press save. That's it.
James.
So yeah, 5 minutes into the game, I was like, oh, why does it say like I've got these players in my team and then obviously it started raining goals. Newcastle had 10 big chances in the first half. Gordon, I think, alone had an XG of nearly 3, did he? Obviously,
I've
there's
not
two
seen.
penalties in
Yeah,
there. But it sounds like he even could have got more. How one sided was it, David? 10
yeah.
big chances in the first half. My goodness.
He missed at least another one on one that springs to mind. Yeah, it was crazy to be honest. As they said on commentary, it makes you wonder how Qarabag got a result against Chelsea earlier on in the, in the season, really, because we saw them get slapped at Anfield, and Newcastle will never have an easier game in European competition than that. I don't think it was. I can't really explain it to be honest. Why Qarabag were just so bad. Um, just seemingly every time Newcastle got the ball, they were just able to just play through them and create a massive chance. I mean, as you said yourself, 10 big chances in the first half. That's one less than every 5 minutes. It's insane to
That's
be honest.
staggering.
Yeah. Um, to the extent where I didn't really watch the second half. To be honest, it's not. There was nothing to take from it. Eddie Howe did exactly the right thing and started taking his
Bullshit.
players
You was
off.
hoping Gordon was going to get double hat tricks and stuff, weren't you?
Trippier tried to help you out by taking one of the penalties off him, but Gordon was
I
having none of
saw,
it.
and by the way, good on him for sticking to his guns, right? Because I
Yeah,
tell you what, I mean, he appears to be the Champions League music and turn into Messi or Ronaldo anyway, as
yeah.
opposed to the Premier League player. There's no way that those sort of players would be giving it up. If you're the penalty taker, mate, you crack on.
Probably wants to play second leg, doesn't he? Because there's more goals to be had there, I think. But
I
yeah,
think he'll be getting rested.
Newcastle
So
could probably
that's the
play.
double irony on UCL Fantasy. Not only have I not had these Newcastle, but I probably got to sell the two of them for the second leg, probably as well, which is intriguing.
Yeah,
Look, great result for Newcastle. Really, really good stuff from them. And I think, yeah, importantly, realistically, with the schedule they've got coming up, and they're obviously going to go through now, yeah, they can pick a youth team next week in that second. I'm sure they won't, but Ramsdale's going to play in goal. I've got Pope as well, which I didn't need to use because I had Courtois' clean sheet. So I got all these Newcastle players probably not going to be involved.
he should be playing Anton Deck up front with Jimmy Nail in the hole. To
They
be honest,
probably,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
crocodile shoes and all. Yeah, they
yeah,
could probably get away with it, mate.
ain't no doubt.
Um, yeah, super result. Shout out to the Newcastle travelling fans as well, because it looked like there was a good contingent out there. And my God, that is a long way. Fair
That's a
game to them.
great trip. Yeah,
Which brings me on to Galatasaray a little bit. So David doesn't know this is coming. I'm going to bring a little bit of a flavour of Tottenham to this, actually, in terms of some of the kind of discussions we have about travels sometimes and stuff like this. I only caught sort of the first half hour of Galatasaray
I didn't see this.
against Juventus. And then started doing stuff with my boy. And when I come back to it and saw how Juventus had absolutely pissed it out the ball, couldn't really believe it. Not that Juventus were playing particularly well, but was obviously a bit shocked to see the manner of the scoreline where Galatasaray had come back from 2-1 down to beat 10-man Juventus 5-2. Sounds like they've had a little bit of a nightmare with Cabal, who came on for Cambiasso at half times, had a little bit of a nightmare, got booked twice and sent off, and it was all a little bit messy. I'd primarily wanted to watch the game, by the way, David, to get a proper look at Kenan Yildiz, who had been kind of following across the season. Wasn't overly impressed with what I saw, actually, in the period of the game. The standout, I mean, how he's playing in that league. I mean, Osimhen is some player as a night. He's actually not even scored. He came off the pitch with the ump, David, because he
Yeah, yeah.
didn't score.
A couple of assists, didn't he? I saw in the Slack channel. Yeah,
Even them were questionable.
yeah,
They're a collection of somewhats. I mean, Leroy Sane coming off the bench, and you're like, oh, I forgot he was there.
yeah.
Davinson Sanchez scored one of the goals. Gabriel Sara scored a nice goal. He was at Norwich. Um, they're beatable. If my team was to play them in the last 16, Genuinely, we may end up with a quarter final. Tottenham will play the winner of this tie, and it's not impossible that Juventus drag it back round, but they probably won't. Or we play Atletico Madrid or Bruges. And I did a piece for our advanced tier patrons the other day, looking at potential journeys for all four of these games. Sorry, on Tuesday before the Galatasaray Juventus game, looking at all these four potential journeys. And since then, I've looked into more to Galatasaray again, and I'd love to go. I'd really love to go because I think the atmosphere just looks absolutely insane. It looks like one of them experiences you've got to do. Tottenham went there in Europa League last year. Tottenham fans, it's one of them. It's no point even singing, like just through
Just
the
can't get hurt,
whistling
yeah.
and what. Yeah, it's just incessant noise that just doesn't stop. And you can imagine when they get up for it and they're on the like with playing with tempo like they were the other night. You can imagine that place is absolutely bouncing. As the game kicked off, and the whole ground started jumping up and down. So I'd love to go and experience that, but to do it, it's 3 days of my life I'm never really going to get back. So it's 4 hour flight. It's then probably going to take you a couple of hours to get into Istanbul. All right, it is what it is. It's fine. 6 hours there, 6 hours back, whatever. The game will be an early kickoff UK time because they're 3 hours ahead. So highly likely 8:45 their time, 5:45 our time. So you can't fly it on the day. So if we play there on the Tuesday, you got to go Monday, you got to go Wednesday. Now, because of the length of that, I'm not doing a lot of work on Monday. It's not like I'm going, I'll get a flight at 8 o'clock Monday night and get there. I'm going to be with my old man, and it's not going to happen, right? So I'm pretty much going to lose 3 days of work if I go. Well, no podcast, James. If I go to Istanbul, yeah, there's a chance you're not getting any podcasts. But it's not just that. It's the whole rigmarole that goes with it, right? So what they make you do, and I know this will happen again, by the way, they meet you up in a place called Sultanahmet Square, okay, which is quite near the river and stuff. It's about a 3 hour walk from Galatasaray's stadium, right? And they'll put you on organised coaches and take you straight into the stadium. You have to get this coach. So it was 8:45 kickoff last year. You had to get on this coach at 4:30. It's 4 hours and 15 minutes before the game. The journey will probably take about an hour and a half on the coach. They have said there will be no toilet facilities on these coaches. So if you think you've been clever and been drinking all day, you've now got a problem. You'll have full body searches, etc., before you even get on the coach. Never mind before you get in the ground, right? It pretty much said as far as don't even bring coins, they'll get taken off you. Anything that could be used as a missile will be taken off you. Some dickhead might throw their phone. They're going to take my phone as well? Presumably not. Okay, so pretty much phone and debit card is pretty much about all you can take with you. They've then advised it will be a long process in terms of getting in the stadium because there's 6 narrow corridors to basically get through and turnstiles. And you're obviously going to get an excessive search, etc. There's certainly time. I don't think there's any danger of missing kickoff, hopefully not. You then get in the ground. Can't have alcohol in the ground. Okay, that's common at a lot of European away venues. That's fine. We're told there will be some food stuff there and that. Okay, fine. Tottenham got held back and were advised last time that would be held back for 90 minutes after the game. Then you've got to do this coach journey back again through the traffic back to this square, which is pretty much on the other side of the city. And then you've got to find your way back to somewhere, right? So you get on a coach at like 4:30 p.m. local time. The game's at 8:45. So let's say it finishes at
11ish. Yeah.
10:30. I mean, it's the first leg, so it can't go to extra time. There's some good news. 10:30ish, bit of added time. Let's say it's quite 2 hours, 11:15. You get held back for like 90 minutes afterwards. It's now midnight. Hour or so journey. So it's actually the whole process here of getting on a coach at 4 o'clock, about call it 4:30 in the afternoon, to probably getting back to the squares about 1:30 in the morning. It's 9 hours. That's just Istanbul. Forget the getting there and then the getting back home and all that. Cost, think of the cost involved. I mean, I could book flights now and take a chance to be about 100 quid return. As soon as we find out we're going, it's not that. Hotels, etc. I reckon it'd probably cost us to go through this between us at 600-700 quid. For what? Because I want to hear them fucking whistle.
Yeah.
And we're shit. Like you do wonder, like, is it? I just want to ask, is it worth it?
No, 2 words. Fuck that. That would be my policy on that one. Just watch it on the telly. Get to the pub.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend 600-700 quid in the pub. That's a certainty. And by the way, I looked into what the organisation was for Nottingham Forest, because Nottingham Forest obviously played in Turkey last night, not at Galatasaray, but at Fenerbahce. Guess what? The meet-up, exactly the same. Sultanahmet Square, yeah, 4 hours before kickoff. Nottingham Forest fans were actually advised that they wouldn't be held back for 90 minutes after full time. They were advised it would be 2 hours.
Great.
I don't know if they were or not, but I would imagine the fact that they won very convincingly probably didn't help. Congratulations to them. I understand you watched the game, David.
I did, yeah. They were olaying in the second half. They were the trip was worth it for them at least. Yeah, I did watch this. It was like similar to you just reeling off a few of the Galatasaray lineup there. It was a classic Turkish Super League fare. Looking at the lineups,
Edison, Kante, there's
yeah,
more, isn't there? Go on.
Nelson Semedo.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Shout out Nico. Guendouzi was in midfield. Asensio. They had Fred who came on, ex of United. Soyuncu, who was at Leicester. Remember?
Oh, Soyuncu.
Yeah.
That's folklore. Him. Is it Sky Fantasy Managers? I want to say.
Yeah, Forest were excellent. You could tell even before they got the first goal that they were pinging it around. They were obviously maybe the word to use is liberated by not playing Dyche ball anymore. But they were playing some really good stuff. Went with the back four, Pereira, Murillo particularly. Just he's got something, hasn't he? That he's a very very talented defender. Scored the sort of goal that he's been threatening to score for ever since he came to Forest. I think bringing the ball forward. Getting a little head of steam up and just having a go from sort of 25 yards out. Great finish past Edison. Gibbs White played really well. Elliot Anderson. It made you realise watching it, Forest shouldn't probably be in the position that they're actually in, really, when you look at some of the players that they've got. Sat there thinking from a Liverpool point of view, wouldn't have minded another week of Dyche, to be honest. But although he did,
probably wouldn't have minded him having a harder game by the sounds of it.
Probably he did batter us at Anfield, Dyche, in all fairness to him. But yeah, it's
he only battered 2 teams, David, and we share something in common there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, it's not going to be a cakewalk, that's for sure. On Sunday, looking at the way Forest played the other night, Fenerbahce looked very very poor, and you wonder whether they will even have a go in the second leg. To be honest, it feels like the tie's already done. But yeah, very, very encouraging performance from Forest. They will, although obviously not a Premier League game, it will give them a lot of confidence for what's to come. And signs are very good already under Pereira that he's getting a tune out of them. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, I liked his comment after the game as well about, right, we have to do that again now.
Yeah.
I liked that. Yeah, go to Turkey and win 3-0. I mean, you mentioned some of the collection of players they've got, and it might be a collection of players rather than a team. I don't know. I've not watched a game. But go there and win 3-0. Anyone be happy with that? It's so impressive.
I don't know if it's a coincidence, but like Murillo and Igor Jesus both had very good games, both Portuguese speakers.
Without Murillo and with him, it's 2 different teams.
Yeah.
Him and Anderson are the 2 that I reference all the time, that I think them 2 stay fit. That's key. If them 2 were both got injured tomorrow and were out of the season, then you'd be desperately worried for them.
Yeah, Gibbs White had a good,
really important.
Gibbs White's not a great season. I don't think he was very good last night. So you're looking down the spine of the team there, aren't you? Murillo, Anderson, Gibbs White, Igor Jesus. It's yeah, there's reasons for optimism there. Definitely, it's going to be very tasty, that battle down at the bottom of the table. I was thinking about that before. The title race is almost back on now. Race for top 5 is well and truly on. Relegation zone, no one can call that. It's kind of all to play for as we sit here today. Maybe it'll get resolved as the weeks go on. But yeah, there's everything's in play at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be quite an exciting end to the domestic season now. You know what that
Yeah.
means? It probably won't be.
Probably won't
Like
be.
we've been
Yeah.
sucked back into it, and then we'll get into April and be like, oh, don't know why I'm watching this game. It's a bit
Yeah.
irrelevant. Yeah, super result for Forest. Obviously, take confidence into the weekend. Played a back four. I mean, that's probably close to the best 11 that they played last night as well. They've been able to take some players off early in the game. That's really important as well. I already seen some suggestions that Fenerbahce maybe won't even bother too much with the second leg themselves because they're in a title battle with Galatasaray for the Superliga there. Just to wrap up in Europe, a few other little bits and pieces. PSG were 2-0 down in the Stade Louis against Monaco. Came back to win 3-2. Ousmane Dembele didn't last long. Vitinha missed a penalty. Couple of goals for Desiree Douy. Borussia Dortmund beat Atalanta 2-0. Bodo Glimt, as me and David had warned on the UCL Fantasy pod. It's almost with Bodo, because I mean, Inter did change the team a bit. It wasn't actually as drastic in the end as it sounded like. It might be like a full second string team. But you know what? With Bodo, it's almost like fuck around and find out. Like,
Yeah.
why do you want to take a chance playing them? I don't know. They take a 3-1 lead to the San Siro. And actually, that's probably the second leg game to watch, I would suggest, next week. Bruges and Atleti, 3-3 draw. By the way,
Sounded fun, that. Yeah.
if my team does play any of Bruges, Atleti, or Juventus, there's no doubt I'm going to any of them, by the way. Leverkusen, great 2-0 win in Olympiacos. In Europa League, Forest won. Celtic got well beat last night, 4-1 at home by Stuttgart. Probably surprising result, maybe on paper. Chavena Zaveda, who we know as Red Star Belgrade, won 1-0 in France against Lille. And Conference League, AZ Alkmaar will beat 1-0 away to Noah last night. And as you briefly mentioned, Crystal Palace drew 1-1 in Bosnia against Srezinski, which included, we think, some Palace fans singing "You're getting sacked in the morning."
Yeah.
So Oliver Glasner, where obviously since this announcement he wouldn't stay at the club, it's not been very good. They are not gimmies to beat Wolves this weekend. Before we find out just how much Crystal Palace, ignoring that, me and David have put in potential free hit drafts for the game week. Do you notice anything about the results in Europe this week? And I didn't read them all, so I don't expect an audio listen to get that. Was there any pattern you noticed about the results?
Low scoring, was it? Or high? Yeah, I didn't, to be fair. I'm guessing.
No, it wasn't particularly about the volume of goals. It was about the type of wins that there were.
Well,
Galatasaray, Dortmund, Bodo Glimt were all on Noah's Ark.
what?
There are only 4 teams who won at home from
Right.
24 games.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, sorry, Ludogorets, I forgot as well. There was 5 in Europa League. So Noah in the Conference League and Ludogorets in the Europa League. Ludogorets beat Ferencváros 2-1. Were the only home winners. There was 5 home wins from 24 ties.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think the second leg's a bit shit. That's why I said probably Inter versus Bodo is the game to watch next week. Go on then, David. So, who is in your free hit draft for the game week? We don't advise anyone to free hit, though there's probably a few teams you could attack that you may have little coverage of.
Yeah. So, despite reservations about Palace, I feel like on free hit you would have to lean into it a little bit on paper. Certainly, Daniel Munoz would go in. So I read it out for the benefit of the audio. Dean Henderson in goal. Back 3 of Daniel Munoz, Gabriel, and Gay. Midfield 4 of Captain Cole Palmer. I think you'd have to do that on free hit from my point of view. Enzo of captain.
Yeah, I mean, be big differential anyway. You don't have to captain him.
Yeah, I think I would.
You've still put Haaland in. Haaland's going to be a loser in your book, therefore.
Mm. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I would captain Cole Palmer on free hit, though. Palmer, Enzo, Semenyo, Rogers. Front 3 of Thiago, Joao Pedro, and Erling Haaland. Bench of Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, Reynaldo, and Goodmanson. So, yeah, it's triple Chelsea, triple City, double Palace, Rogers, Thiago, and Gabriel. Doesn't seem like the week to free hit by any means, but that's what I'd go with. How about you?
Yeah, it's not hugely different. Again, if you're new around here, me and David don't like sit down around the table and discuss this together. We just tend to send each other the drafts before we start, and yeah, it's not very different. So for your Dean Henderson, I've gone Donnarumma to give me Manchester City coverage. I've also gone Munoz and Gabriel instead of Mark Gay, where I've gone Donnarumma. I've also gone Chalobah. That gives me Chelsea defensive coverage. You've obviously gone three Chelsea attacking players. So you went Palmer, Enzo, João Pedro, and you also went Semenyo, Haaland, Rogers, Thiago. The only difference I've got to you in the attacking spots is I've got Ismail Star instead of Enzo Fernandez and gone one Chelsea defence. So essentially, you've gone Henderson, Gay, Enzo Fernandez versus my Donnarumma, Chalobah, Ismail Star.
Illustrating again how much more team value you've got than me.
Sorry about that, mate.
Yeah.
Even on the bench, we went quite similar. We've both got Dubravka, Reynildo, and Goodmanson. I've gone Vitali Yanel rather than Keenan Dewsbury Hall.
Why not live a little?
Wildcard. There was something specific I'm going to do with mine, which I'll talk through. And again, I don't advise it. It might be for some. Someone's going to see what I've done here and get tempted, I think. And I apologise in advance because it probably won't work. What would be your idea on Wildcard, David?
Yeah, this will be such a sticky week to wildcard, in my opinion, because of this Chelsea fixture tomorrow. So I'll read it out. There's no Chelsea in it. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's grim that.
So Raya and Dubravka as the keepers. Put Raya in because you can hide him in the blank in 31 and just play Dubravka. Back three this week of Virgil, Gabriel, Joachim Anderson. Other defenders are James Hill and Goodmanson. Midfield four of Bruno Fernandes, Florian Wirtz, Dango Utara, Morgan Rogers. Also got Dewsbury Hall on the bench. Front three is my current front three of Igor Thiago, Hugo Ekitike, and Erling Haaland. What you could do is you could keep your Chelsea in if you flush with transfers and just move them out next week. But if I was told to wildcard this week, I would just
take it on.
I'd just take it on, yeah. And because your Chelsea players look great on wildcard this week, but then the deadline will come and go, and you're looking at three. You just wildcarded and you got three Chelsea players away at Arsenal next week, which doesn't look great. So yeah, that's why I think I wouldn't really want a wild card this week, I don't think.
Yeah, you'd be looking at doing things like maybe putting in, say, Palmer instead of Bruno Fernandes, who you've probably got quite a bit of value in.
Yeah.
And then reversing that back just the following week anyway.
Yeah. You could leave money in the bank to get your Liverpool in next week because Forest away isn't easy this week and keep Chelsea in. But wild carding and then immediately using transfers when they are quite precious doesn't seem a good use of a wild card, in my opinion. You really need Chelsea to bang if you're going to do that tomorrow.
Okay. With mine, it's very similar, but a different strategy. So you've gone Raya and Dubravka as goalkeepers. I've actually kept Verbruggen and gone Kelleher. And they play each other this week. But as mentioned a number of times this season, the rotation between those two goalkeepers isn't half bad, actually, which includes next week, but it's a challenging decision. You might get an idea where this is leading to. Van Dijk and Gabriel stay. I would also have Joachim Anderson, but I'd probably have him on the bench this week. I'd stick Ezri Konsa in. With the ability to use him this week, home to Leeds, away to Wolves, and also really good coverage for the blank in 31. Their fixtures, if you wildcard now as well, are pretty good right up to 36 as well. So wouldn't have the intention to start him much, but as insurance cover on the bench, plays nearly every game, and there's never a game where you'd think, oh, I can't have him coming into the team. It'd be a disaster. Like, it's okay. The final defender for me, which would also sit on the bench this week, and probably last on the bench, by the way, is James Hill of Bournemouth, who you've also gone for. Midfield and attack, in terms of starting lineups, I've got exactly the same as you. So Fernandes, Wirtz, Rogers, Dango Utara. Up front, Haaland, Ekitike, Thiago. The only difference is the 8th attacker. You've got Keenan Dewsbury Hall. I would hold on to Harry Wilson, who I invested in at 5.2. For the benefit of the audio listeners, David's, I don't know what kind of, what was it, David? Money, is it money?
Team value, money. Yeah.
I've got more in the bank here than you and all, mate. 0.7 and all, right?
Lenders a fiver, mate.
Yeah, no, you're okay, mate. So that team is very similar to yours. The following week, leaving the team untouched. Kelleher away to Burnley along with Utara and Thiago. Conser and Rogers away to Wolves. The treble Liverpool, Van Dijk, Wirtz, Ekiteke at home to West Ham. Gabriel at home to Chelsea. Bruno Fernandes at home to Crystal Palace. Looks absolutely fine. Looks set. The bench. Verbruggen at home to Nottingham Forest. Joachim Anderson and Harry Wilson at home to Tottenham. James Hill at home to Sunderland.
Bench boost.
Bench boost. If I was being forced into that now, and people, you said on the chip strategy, James. Yeah, I also said if you were keeping the wild card, this is forcing me to use it. If I was using the wild card this week, I think them fixtures are good enough next week. I'd probably be pulling the trigger on that next week. There is a small circumstance where I even pull it for myself next week anyway.
Really?
Yeah, it's very unlikely, but I'm going to sit there with 5 free transfers and looking at 13 good players next week.
Interesting.
It's unlikely, but I could, for example, do things like buy Konsa and Utara for Alderete and Enzo Fernandez, and I would have a very strong 15 next week, and it would be a real temptation. So, yes, if I was wildcarding now, yeah, I'd probably set to get that out of the way. The idea after that would be you've obviously invested heavily in Fulham, Brentford, Liverpool, who have good fixtures. Eventually, that's going to turn around. You build up transfers along this path. If you really fancy investment into a Rayan or something like that, you can do it. There is at least the coverage there of James Hill. So really, I found it really difficult to think. Again, I want to watch Rayan tomorrow. To put him in now ahead of any of Utara, Rogers or Wilson, I found that really difficult. And if I was wildcarding now, I think if I was wildcarding now, I'd treble Liverpool.
You'd have no Chelsea for tomorrow as well, then.
No, it's the same thing. I'd be forcing like Palmer in for Fernandes and just reversing it next week, and then I've lost all the value I've got in Fernandes.
Yeah,
it doesn't really, for one game, I get it. It's like we can be behind, oh, Palmer got a hat-trick, it was worth it. If you tell me Palmer's going to get a hat-trick, yeah, I'll do it. But Fernandes could easily just get like a goal at Everton. It's like 11 points or so.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Okay, that's your weekend done. Remember, deadline is a little bit later tomorrow. It's a 1:30 p.m. UK deadline. So for those on YouTube, we'll be doing a deadline stream. That is at 12:30 p.m. UK time, I believe. So you'll be back with me for the game review podcast on Monday, and you'll be able to tell from my first expressions how Tottenham have got on against Arsenal at the weekend. Can you Spurs? Smash a like, everyone. Hit the sub. Audio listeners, a 5-star review goes a really long way. If you'd like to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. Be nice to each other. Have a great weekend. Cue music, please, Manchild.